At Christmas, my parents handed out matching boxes to all my siblings. I opened mine and found nothing inside. My mom smiled and said, "That's what happens when you give nothing back." My 3 siblings opened theirs, each containing a check for $15,000. Down payment money, Dad announced proudly, to help you kids get started in life. I was 24, working 2 jobs while finishing my master's degree. My sister Becca was 26, still living at home, working part-time at Dad's company. My brothers, twins at 22, had dropped out of college to start a podcast that got maybe 50 downloads per episode. I stared at the empty box, my throat tight. "I don't understand," I managed. Mom sipped her wine, that same serene smile. "You moved out at 18, refused to come home after college. You don't visit enough, you don't call enough. Actions have consequences." "I visit every holiday," I said, my voice shaking. "I'm here right now." "But you're never really here," Dad added, not looking up from his phone. "Always distracted, always running off to your busy life." Becca wouldn't meet my eyes. The twins exchanged uncomfortable glances, but said nothing. That night, lying in my childhood bed, I replayed every family interaction from the past 6 years. How I'd flown home for Dad's surgery, how I'd helped Mom move her mother into assisted living, how I'd spent my spring break painting their fence. Then I remembered what I'd missed. Dad's retirement party, because I had final exams. Mom's book club presentation, because I was working a double shift to pay rent. Becca's birthday dinner, because I'd had the flu. I'd prioritized survival over performance. And that, apparently, was unforgivable. The next morning, I packed my bag and left before anyone woke up. But instead of going home, I drove to my grandmother's house, the one my parents had moved her out of 2 years ago. Grandma Wren hugged me at the door, her sharp eyes taking in my puffy face immediately. "Let me guess," she said. "The Christmas gifts happened." I stared at her. "You knew?" She led me to her kitchen table, poured us both coffee. "Your mother did the same thing to me 30 years ago, said I didn't contribute enough to the family, cut me out of events, made me feel like I was invisible unless I was useful." My hands trembled around the mug. "Why didn't anyone warn me? Would you have believed them?" Grandma asked gently. "Or would you have thought you could be different, that you could somehow earn what they were never going to give?" She was right. I thought if I just tried hard enough, proved my worth, they'd see me as more than a supporting character in their lives. "Here's what you need to know," Grandma said, pulling out a worn folder. "Your parents have been planning this for months. They've told the whole family you've been neglectful. They're building a narrative." Inside the folder were printed emails, text message screenshots, family group chat conversations I wasn't part of, my mother describing how I'd abandoned them, my father listing every missed event, Becca agreeing that I'd become too self-absorbed. "Why are you showing me this?" I whispered. Grandma's jaw tightened. "Because I have cameras in that house. Security system they don't know about. And I've been documenting everything they've said about you when they thought no one was listening." She pulled out her laptop and opened a folder labeled Truth. What I saw made my blood run cold. Hours of footage. My parents laughing about how the empty box would devastate me, planning which relatives to turn against me first, discussing how they'd use my isolation to control my siblings better. "They're doing this to keep the others in line," Grandma explained. "You're the example. The warning of what happens when you choose independence." My phone buzzed. A text from Becca. "Mom says you left without saying goodbye. Really mature." I looked at Grandma, then at the evidence on her screen. "What do I do with this?" I asked. She smiled, sharp and knowing. "That depends. Are you ready to burn it all down?" I spent the next 3 hours watching footage that rewrote my entire childhood. There was Mom, 2 weeks before Christmas, practicing her disappointed face in the mirror, adjusting the angle of her head, testing different versions of "that's what happens when you give nothing back," until she found the one that would cut deepest. There was Dad, on a call with his accountant laughing about how the empty box cost him nothing but would pay dividends in family control for years. There was Becca asking if she really had to play along, and Mom's response, "If you want to keep getting your allowance, you'll do exactly as I say." But the worst was a conversation from 6 months ago. My parents sitting in their living room discussing me like I was a problem to be solved. "She thinks she's better than us," Mom said. "Getting that degree, working those important jobs. She needs to remember where she came from." "The empty box will fix that," Dad replied. "Nothing humbles someone faster than public humiliation in front of the people who matter. And if she complains, then we have the whole family primed to think she's ungrateful. Win-win." I watched myself being systematically erased from the family narrative. Every missed event weaponized. Every boundary I'd set twisted into abandonment. Every achievement I'd worked for reframed as arrogance. Grandma handed me tissues. I hadn't realized I was crying. "They did this to me too," she said quietly. "Only I didn't have proof. Just a lifetime of wondering if I was crazy for feeling what I felt." "Why are you still in their lives?" I asked. She smiled sadly. "Because I thought I had to be. For you kids. I kept thinking maybe if I stayed close, I could protect you from them." "How did that work out?" "You're sitting in my kitchen, broken, on Christmas Day. You tell me." My phone kept buzzing. Messages flooding in from aunts, uncles, cousins. All variations of the same theme. How dare I walk out on Christmas morning? How selfish I was. How disappointed they were in me. "They're already executing phase 2, Grandma observed, reading over my shoulder. "Mobilizing the extended family before you can tell your side." "I don't want to tell my side," I said. "I want to disappear. Start over somewhere they'll never find me. And let them win? What's winning look like? Exposing them? Then what? I'm the villain who destroyed Christmas? The ungrateful daughter who released private family footage?" Grandma closed the laptop, looked at me with an intensity that made me straighten my spine. "You think this is about Christmas?" she asked. "This is about the next 20 years of your life. This is about whether they get to control your narrative forever. This is about your siblings learning that this is how family works." I thought about the twins, how they'd looked away when I opened my empty box, how they'd clutched their checks like life preservers. I thought about Becca, still living at home at 26, working for Dad, trapped in amber. What if I do this and lose them all? I whispered. What if you don't and lose yourself? We spent the rest of Christmas Day building a strategy. Grandma pulled out years of documentation. Not just the camera footage, but financial records showing the hundreds of thousands she'd given my parents over the years. Money they'd claimed was spent on family expenses, but had actually funded their lavish lifestyle. I've been their private ATM for decades, she said. That's the only reason they keep me around. I finally got smart and started tracking where every dollar went. She showed me receipts for a beach house I'd never seen, an investment property I'd never heard about, a boat named Easy Money that they kept at a marina 3 states away. They told everyone they were middle class, I said, staring at the numbers. Mom always made such a big deal about budgeting and sacrificing. Performance, Grandma replied. All of it. The modest house, the sensible cars, the humble bragging about making ends meet. Meanwhile, they're sitting on a real estate portfolio worth millions. Why hide it? Because wealthy people are expected to be generous. Middle-class people get sympathy for being selective. She pulled up a spreadsheet. Watch this. She showed me a pattern. Every time a family member had a crisis, a medical emergency, a job loss, a divorce, my parents would organize a fundraiser, collect money from relatives, then contribute a token amount themselves while keeping the rest. How much are we talking? Last count? About $340,000 over 15 years. My stomach turned. That's fraud, Grandma finished. At minimum, it's exploitation. They've positioned themselves as the family's generous benefactors while actually being its biggest parasites. Does anyone else know? Just you and me. Now, she paused. And your Aunt Delilah. She figured it out 3 years ago. They've been systematically destroying her reputation ever since. I remembered Aunt Delilah, how she'd gone from being the life of every family party to persona non grata, how people spoke about her in pitying whispers, how she'd stopped showing up to events. What happened to her? Grandma pulled up more messages, screenshots of a family group chat showing my parents spreading rumors that Delilah was mentally unstable, that she'd been hospitalized, that she'd accused them of terrible things that weren't true. None of this happened. She threatened to expose them, so they neutralized her first, made sure no one would believe her if she talked. Jesus. They're strategic, Grandma said. This isn't random cruelty. It's calculated control. My phone buzzed again. This time, a message from one of the twins. Just so you know, Mom's telling everyone you stole money from them over the years. Thought you should hear it from someone who knows it's BS. I showed Grandma. She nodded grimly. And so it begins. The character assassination. By New Year's, you'll be the villain in everyone's story. Unless we move first. Today, right now. Grandma helped me create a private Instagram account and added every single family member except my parents and Becca. The first post went up at 5 p.m. on Christmas Day. A photo of the empty box, alongside photos of the checks my siblings received. The caption read, "My parents gave me this for Christmas. They said it's what happens when you give nothing back to the family. I'd like to tell you what I actually gave over the past 6 years." Then I listed everything, with receipts. The $2,000 I'd loaned Dad for his surgery, which I now knew funded a golf trip. The 40 hours I'd spent helping them move, while working full-time and taking finals. The $500 monthly grocery deliveries I'd sent when they claimed they were struggling financially. The spring break I'd spent painting their fence, landscaping their yard, and deep cleaning their house. Every birthday gift. Every time I'd driven 6 hours home for a weekend just to see them. Every sacrifice I'd made to be the daughter they claimed I wasn't. I thought I wasn't doing enough, I wrote. Turns out I was just doing it wrong. I was supposed to stay close, stay grateful, and stay small. This is what happens when you choose your own life over someone else's control. The responses started immediately. Aunt Delilah, thank you for your courage. I see you. I believe you. Cousin Reese. Wait, what? They have a beach house? Uncle Todd. I think we need to have a family meeting about this. Within an hour, my phone was exploding. Some messages were supportive. Others demanded I take the post down immediately. A few accused me of ruining Christmas. My mother called 47 times. I didn't answer. Then Becca texted, "You just destroyed our family. I hope you're happy." I stared at the message for a long time. Then I typed back, "I'm not the one who gave me an empty box while laughing about it behind closed doors." She responded immediately. "What are you talking about? Ask Mom and Dad about Grandma's security cameras." 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again, then nothing. The next day, I posted the second wave. This time, it was a carefully edited video compilation. My parents practicing their disappointment speeches, their conversations about using me as an example, their laughter about the empty box's impact. I'd blurred nothing, cut nothing that mattered. The caption was simple. "This is what's happening when you think no one's watching." The video went viral within the family network. My phone became unusable. Hundreds of messages, dozens of calls. The family WhatsApp group I'd been removed from was apparently in complete meltdown. I knew because my cousins kept sending me screenshots. Dad threatening lawsuits, Mom crying about betrayal, Becca defending them, then going silent when people started asking her to explain the footage. The twins sent me a private message. "We didn't know about any of it. They told us you'd been stealing from them, that the empty box was about teaching you accountability. Do you believe that now?" I asked. "No," they replied. "We're moving out next week. Together. We're done." That felt like something. Maybe not redemption, but at least clarity. Then Aunt Delilah posted in the family group. Grandma sent me screenshots. 3 years ago, I tried to tell you all what they were doing," Aunt Delilah wrote. "You didn't believe me. You said I was mentally unstable. You cut me out. I lost my relationship with most of you because I tried to warn you. I hope you'll believe her now. I hope you'll see what I saw. And I hope you'll think twice before dismissing someone's pain as instability next time." The responses to her post ranged from apologetic to defensive, but the tide was turning. People started sharing their own stories. Money that was collected but never quite made it where it was supposed to go. Promises that evaporated. Small cruelties that seemed insignificant alone but formed a pattern when assembled. My family wasn't just breaking. It was reconstructing around the truth. By day 3, the lawyers got involved. My father sent a cease and desist letter demanding I remove all posts and surrender Grandma's security footage. I forwarded it to Grandma's attorney, the one she'd already consulted. The one who'd confirmed that everything we were doing was legal. Private property, legal surveillance, truth as a defense. The attorney sent back a response that essentially said, "Try me." My mother took a different approach. She called Grandma, crying, begging her to make me stop destroying their lives. Grandma put her on speaker so I could hear. "You destroyed your own life when you tried to destroy hers," Grandma said. "I gave you chance after chance to be decent. You chose this. We gave her a home. We raised her. This is how she repays us? You gave her trauma and called it love. You're not upset about what she's doing. You're upset that people are finally seeing what you are." Mom's voice turned cold. "You realize you'll never see any of your grandchildren again?" "I'm already seeing the one who matters," Grandma replied, looking at me. "The one you tried to break." She hung up. I wanted to cry, but the tears wouldn't come. Instead, I felt something else. Something lighter. "Thank you," I said. Grandma squeezed my hand. "Don't thank me. You're the one who had the courage to fight back. I'm just the one who finally provided ammunition." The 4th day after Christmas, my siblings showed up at Grandma's house. All 3 of them, looking tired and uncertain. Becca spoke first. "Can we come in?" Grandma looked at me. I nodded. We sat around the kitchen table. The same table where Grandma had offered me coffee and truth just days before. "Mom says you're trying to destroy the family," Becca started. "Dad says you've always been difficult and manipulative. Is that what you believe?" I asked. She looked at her hands. "I watched the footage, all of it. Grandma sent it to me. And I feel like I'm waking up from a really long dream where I thought I understood my life." Her voice cracked. "They made me participate. They told me if I didn't play along with the empty box thing, I'd lose my job, my room, everything. You could have warned me," I said. "I know." Tears started falling. "I'm a coward. I've been a coward my whole life because it was easier than fighting them." One of the twins, Connor, cleared his throat. "They told us you'd been emotionally manipulating them for years, that you demanded money constantly, that you threatened them if they didn't comply. And you believed that?" "We wanted to," the other twin, Devin, admitted. "Because if we believed them, then everything made sense. The empty box was justice, not cruelty. We were the good kids, not the complicit ones. But then we saw the footage," Connor continued, "and we realized we've been living in a story they wrote, where they're the victims and everyone else is either with them or against them." Becca wiped her eyes. "I'm 26 years old, and I'm still living at home because every time I tried to move out, they'd create a crisis. Medical emergency, financial disaster, something that made me feel guilty for leaving. None of it was real. I don't know anymore. I can't tell the difference between what actually happened and what they convinced me happened." I understood that feeling, that vertigo of realizing your entire foundation was quicksand. "So what do you want?" I asked. "We want to know how to fix this," Devin said. "You can't," Grandma interjected. "You can't fix people who don't think they're broken. You can only decide if you're going to keep participating in their brokenness." "We're moving out," Connor said. "All 3 of us. Together. We found an apartment. We're going to figure out life without their money, their jobs, their control. Mom said if we leave, we're cut off entirely," Becca added. "No inheritance, no family events. We're choosing you anyway." Something in my chest cracked open. Not pain this time. Something else. "You don't have to choose me," I said. "You just have to choose yourselves." "Can we choose both?" Becca asked quietly. I looked at her. Really looked at her. Saw the scared kid she still was underneath the 26-year-old exterior. The one who'd been controlled her whole life and was just now realizing she'd been in a cage. "Yeah," I said. "We can choose both." The family meeting happened 2 weeks later. Not at my parents' house. Not at anyone's house. At a neutral location, a community center conference room that Grandma rented. She sent invitations to every adult family member. 53 people, 41 showed up. My parents arrived early, clearly expecting to control the narrative. They sat at the head of the table, looking grim and victimized. When everyone was settled, Grandma stood up. "Thank you all for coming," she said. "I know the past few weeks have been difficult. I know many of you are confused, angry, or hurt. Today we're going to address all of it, but not the way you might expect." She pulled out a projector and laptop. "What is this?" my father demanded. "This is everything," Grandma replied. "Every conversation I've recorded, every financial record I've tracked, every lie that needs to be confronted. You're all going to see it. Then you're going to decide for yourselves what kind of family we want to be going forward." My mother stood up. "This is absurd. We're not participating in this." "Sit down," Aunt Delilah said. "Or leave. But if you leave, everyone will know why." My parents looked around the room, saw that the family wasn't automatically on their side anymore, saw that they'd lost control of the narrative. They sat down. For the next 2 hours, Grandma presented evidence, not just the Christmas box incident. Everything. The fraudulent fundraisers, the hidden wealth, the systematic character assassination of anyone who questioned them, the way they'd manipulated family finances for decades. People gasped, people cried, people got angry. My father tried to defend himself, said the footage was taken out of context, that Grandma had been manipulated by me, that this was all a conspiracy by jealous family members. "Then explain the bank records," Uncle Todd said. "Explain why you collected $45,000 for my cancer treatment and gave me $3,000. Explain why you told everyone I was in rehab when I was actually in grad school," Cousin Reese added. "Explain the letters you sent my professors trying to get me expelled. Explain why I haven't been invited to a family event in 3 years after I questioned where the money from Dad's estate actually went," Aunt Delilah said. The room turned on them, not with violence, with questions. with demands for accountability, with a collective realization that they'd all been victims of the same manipulation. My mother started crying. Real tears this time, I think. Or maybe just another performance. We did everything for this family, she said. We held it together. We made the hard decisions. And this is how you repay us? You didn't hold us together, I said, speaking for the first time. You held us hostage. There's a difference. She looked at me with something that might have been hatred or might have been grief. I couldn't tell anymore. Maybe she couldn't either. After everything we gave you gave me an empty box, I interrupted. And you laughed about it. So let's not pretend this is about gratitude. This is about control. And you're upset because you've lost it. The room was silent. My father stood up. We're leaving. Anyone who wants to remain part of this family will leave with us. Nobody moved. Fine, he said. You're all dead to us. All of you. They walked out, just like that. 27 years of being their daughter, gone in a door slam. I waited for devastation, for heartbreak, for the collapse I'd been expecting. Instead, I felt light, unburdened, free. The aftermath took months to sort through. Grandma hired an attorney who specialized in family fraud cases. Turned out, what my parents had been doing was illegal in multiple ways. Misappropriation of funds, fraud, maybe even embezzlement depending on how you framed it. Several family members filed civil suits. My parents settled quickly. They couldn't risk criminal charges. They paid back money, quietly sold their hidden assets, and basically bankrupted themselves trying to avoid prison. The beach house went to Uncle Todd as partial compensation for the cancer fundraiser they'd stolen. The boat was sold, money distributed to various relatives they'd conned. The investment property became Aunt Delilah's. Karma, apparently, could be financially devastating. My parents moved to another state, changed their phone numbers, sent a single email to Becca saying they hoped she'd come to her senses eventually. She deleted it without responding. My siblings and I spent the next year learning how to be a family without our parents' framework. It wasn't easy. We'd argue about things, then realize we were just repeating patterns we'd learned. We'd apologize constantly, worried every disagreement meant abandonment. We'd have to consciously remind ourselves that love didn't require performance. But slowly, we built something real, something that didn't need an audience or validation, something that was just ours. Connor started a legitimate business. Turns out he actually had a talent for marketing, just not for his podcast. Devin went back to school. Becca got therapy and started setting boundaries with everyone, including me. And me? I finished my master's degree, started a nonprofit that helped people document and escape family financial abuse, used everything I'd learned to help others who were trapped in similar situations. Grandma became our anchor, not the controlling kind, the stable kind. She'd host Sunday dinners where the only rule was honesty, where we could be messy and real and figuring it out. This is what family should feel like, Becca said once, watching Connor and Devin argue cheerfully about whether pineapple belonged on pizza. What's that? I asked. Safe, she said. Like you can be yourself without calculating the cost. 2 years after the Christmas box incident, I got a letter. My mother's handwriting. No return address. I almost threw it away without opening it. But curiosity won. Inside was a single page. I've been thinking about that Christmas, it read. About what I said to you. About the empty box. I want you to know I'm not sorry for trying to teach you a lesson. I'm sorry you didn't learn it. You were always ungrateful. Always difficult. I did my best with what I had. That's all any parent can do. I hope someday you'll understand that. When you have children of your own, maybe you'll realize how hard it is. Maybe you'll forgive me then. Or maybe you'll continue being bitter and vindictive. Either way, I've made peace with who I am. You should try to do the same. No signature, just the letter. I read it 3 times, looking for remorse, for accountability, for any hint that she understood what she'd done. There was nothing. Just more justification, more positioning herself as the victim. I showed it to Grandma. She read it, sighed, and handed it back. What are you going to do? She asked. Nothing, I said. She wants a response, engagement, evidence that she still has power over my emotions. I'm not giving her that. Good, Grandma said. Some people write their own endings. Let her write hers alone. I threw the letter away. Didn't even keep it for documentation. It wasn't evidence of anything except her inability to change. That was the last time I heard from either of my parents. 5 years after the empty box Christmas, I got married. Small ceremony, just the people who'd earned their place in my life. Grandma walked me down the aisle. My siblings stood as attendants. Aunt Delilah gave a toast about resilience and chosen family. My parents weren't invited, didn't even know about it until someone posted photos online. My mother sent a message through a distant cousin. I'm hurt you didn't invite us to your wedding. We're still your parents, no matter what. The cousin asked if she should respond on my behalf. Tell her, I said, that invitations are earned, not inherited. I don't know if the message was delivered. I don't particularly care. Sometimes people ask if I regret what I did, if I wish I'd handled the Christmas box incident differently. The answer is complicated. I regret that it had to happen at all. I regret that my parents were incapable of genuine love. I regret the years I spent thinking I was the problem. But I don't regret fighting back. I don't regret exposing the truth. I don't regret choosing myself and my siblings over the comfort of a beautiful lie. The empty box was supposed to break me. Instead, it freed me. My parents wanted to punish me for choosing independence over compliance. Instead, they taught me that I was right to choose it. They tried to use public humiliation as a weapon. Instead, they gave me the clarity to see them for what they were. And in the end, the empty box wasn't really empty at all. It was full of possibility, full of truth, full of the future I'd build without them. Last week, Grandma turned 85. We threw her a party. 50 people showed up, most of the family, united in a way we'd never been when my parents were pulling the strings. During the toasts, she pulled me aside. I've been thinking about your Christmas, she said. It's been 5 years, Grandma. I've moved on. I know, but I want to tell you something. She took my hands. When your mother gave you that empty box, I saw something in your eyes, something that terrified me. You looked destroyed, hollow, like she'd finally succeeded in breaking. She almost did, I admitted. But then you showed up at my house, and I saw something else, something stronger than destruction. You know what it was? I shook my head. Choice, she said. You chose to fight. You chose to stand up. You chose yourself. And in that moment, you became someone your mother never could be, someone who transforms pain into power. I couldn't have done it without you. Yes, you could have, she said firmly. Maybe not as quickly, maybe not as cleanly, but you would have found your way. I just gave you the tools you were already brave enough to use. I hugged her, held on longer than necessary. Thank you, I whispered. For what? For being the grandmother I needed. For seeing me when everyone else was looking away. For being brave enough to choose truth over comfort. She pulled back, eyes shining. You know what the best part is? What? You're going to be a grandmother someday, and you'll be the kind who breaks cycles instead of repeating them. That's legacy. Real legacy. I'm 30 now, in a career I love, in a relationship built on honesty, in a family I chose and who chose me back. Sometimes I wonder what my parents tell themselves about what happened, what story they've constructed where they're still the heroes, what narrative helps them sleep at night. But mostly, I don't wonder about them at all. I'm too busy living a life they told me I didn't deserve. Too busy building connections they said I wasn't worthy of. Too busy being happy in a way that doesn't require anyone else's permission. The empty box sits on a shelf in my office now. A reminder, not of humiliation, but of liberation. Inside it, I've placed a note, just one line. This is what freedom looks like. Because that's what it was. That's what it remains. An empty box that made space for something real. A moment of cruelty that revealed a lifetime of manipulation. A gift that gave me nothing and everything. And if I'm being honest, it's the best thing they ever gave me. Not because of what it was, but because of what it forced me to become. Someone who knew her worth. Someone who refused to accept less than she deserved. Someone who understood that the most valuable gifts aren't wrapped in pretty paper. They're wrapped in truth, in courage, in the decision to stop participating in your own diminishment. My parents tried to teach me a lesson that Christmas. They succeeded, just not the one they intended. They taught me that I was strong enough to stand alone, that I deserved better than conditional love, that sometimes the best thing you can do for a toxic family is let it burn and build something new from the ashes. So when people ask about the worst Christmas gift I ever received, I tell them about the empty box, and then I tell them it saved my life.